Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Rag Plays Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. A week has passed. Yes, indeed it has, and my spring cleaning is done, my office is clean, and I'm excited to be playing KotOR again. When last we left off, we were given our directive from the Jedi Council to search the galaxy, which unfortunately I don't have a map of, for the star maps, which will hopefully fill in the pieces of the puzzle that will lead us to the Star Forge. In addition to that, we also kicked off the romance with Bastila, much to her chagrin. Right now, we have to talk to most of the crew because their side quests need to be started on various party members. There's also upgrades we need to do to our weapons. I have to check what kind of Azat cards I have. There's lots of stuff. There's stuff to do that I did not quite get a chance to finish. I know we should definitely pay Mission a visit and see how she's been holding up. She's been cooped up on this ship for months, perhaps, or at least in the Enclave in general, and definitely want to make sure she's not slipped into any sort of depression after what happened with Terrace. Mac and Bastila and Karth have not had a whole lot of time to spend with her in the passing weeks. I suppose Karth might have, but definitely want to make sure she's doing well. Anyway, I guess Canderous is the first one that Max sees, and he'll be eager to have a word with him, just to offer him a bit of praise. You know, you handled yourself well out there on the plains. A real professional. I know you were a soldier in the war, and
Yeah, what do you want?
I was wondering if you had any more war stories.
I was one of the best youth warriors in the clan Ordo in my time. No one before me had mastered the power of our basilisk war droids as quickly as I had. Except Mandalore himself, of course. In those days, we were sweeping across the Outer Rim, destroying all who fought us. Young Mandalores would prove themselves in real combat with unknown opponents above 1,000 worlds. Each brought back stories of his achievements.
Sounds glorious. So what was your story?
I remember it well, orbiting high above a placid world, its defenses just stirring. As was tradition, I would go ahead of the first wave to find enemies in the thickest fighting. I remember sitting there in my armor, linked directly with a basilisk thrumming beneath me, my heart racing with fear of the coming battle.
Yeah. So what happened next?
The doors opened in front of me, and the air was sucked out of the drop bay, scattering crystals of frozen vapor across my path. I can't describe what it feels like to look directly down at a world, falling continuously as you circle it, with barely 15 centimeters of armor plate protecting you. When the magnetic locks disengaged on my droid, I plunged out of the drop bay towards the battle that waited below.
Who are you fighting, anyway?
I don't remember. It doesn't matter anyway. That world's dead now. The exhilaration, the euphoria I felt as I streaked into the atmosphere, dodging self-guided projectiles and beam weapons, was unmatched. An 80-kilometer plunge through the atmosphere, dodging and weaving, the outside of my armor glowing like the sun with the heat of re-entry. And with barely 30 meters to spare, I twisted and skimmed the surface, firing at the giant beam generators that were in my path. The explosion from that sent shock waves that leveled the entire complex around it. It was the moment of my life.
Oh my. It's giving me the vapors. That's horrible. No, I don't think so. I think Mac will be pretty impressed by this. That was some fight.
I'll never forget those times. But things are different now. We can't go on fighting the way we did. There are too few of us left now. But I really don't want to talk about this anymore. I trust I've satisfied your curiosity for now.
Not
Is there
even
something
close,
else
my
you
friend.
want to know?
Not even close. But, you know, I'm just asking for a friend, but, you got any of those adrenal stimulants? You know, I heard, you know, Mandalorians, they they enhance themselves in certain ways, and I wouldn't mind partaking in.
Stimulants make a warrior out of even the weakest human. Here's a stamina-boosting stimulant to help you get tougher. There anything else you need?
Thanks, man. I was wondering if you had any more war stories. We can't leave with just one, can we?
You want another war story, huh? You
Yeah.
want to hear about some other world getting wasted, eh?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you were the type. Your stagnant republic has never seen some of the strange creatures and races we fought on the Outer Rim in those years. And you never will now.
What do you mean? You killed them all?
If a world isn't strong enough to defend itself, it's basically forfeit. But this story is about something a little different. We were going through the asteroid fields of the Crispin system at the very edge of the galaxy, playing with the pirates and smugglers we found there. The main belt in the Crispin system consists of mainly small rocks covered in frozen methane gas shells, and the pirates were using them for cover. Ha! I remember using a thermal generator to cause the outer layer of one of the asteroids to vaporize in a picosecond. It blew out and shredded the 3 smugglers using it for cover. But that was a mistake.
You Mandalorians never were too smart. Did it backfire?
The asteroid I had targeted was smaller than most, maybe a dozen meters on a side. On the outside, it looked the same as any other. Just a ball covered in frozen gas. But something must have been inside it. Something inactive, in the cold. The heat of my blast might have triggered something, or woken something up. After I'd hit it, spots of light and heat appeared all over the thin shell, still covering it, evaporating the gases. What lay underneath looked like some sort of rocky growth. A deformed rock, pitted by scores of micrometeorite scars. I think something even older might have been inside that.
An asteroid?
Maybe, but maybe not. It started rotating faster and faster as we watched it.
Oh.
After a second, it started spraying fire, thermal projectiles that melted our armor like wax.
Whoa.
We were caught completely by surprise. Before we could counterattack, it fled at an incredible speed.
A ship?
We couldn't catch it, but we could follow its hyperspace wake. We followed its trail as far as we could, heading away from the galactic core. When it finally led beyond the edge of our galaxy, we abandoned our efforts. Anything that wants to commit suicide in that great void is not worth our trouble trying to catch. That's the only story I have for now.
There must be
I'll
something
tell you some
else
more
out
stuff
there.
later if we get the chance. Is there something else you want to know?
So, this story that Canderous tells is describing what may have been him making first contact with a species of extragalactic invaders called the Yushan Vong, probably a scout ship that he had stumbled across. Though it was very far into the core, they might have been mapping the galaxy at that point. The Yushan Vong are a species of alien that are they come from beyond the Outer Rim. They are immune to the Force. Any Force powers do not work on them, and they construct their ships out of sort of a living coral as well as their armor. They kind of look like really tall space zombies. They're pretty ugly looking, and they cause a lot of problems in the galaxy in about 4,100 years time, thereabouts, give or take, you know. But yeah, of course Canderous wouldn't have known what he saw, and neither would Telemachus, so we will not dwell upon that. Do you have any more stimulants?
Hey, don't worry. I think you've got enough there as it is. You don't want to overload yourself on stims. Otherwise, you might destroy your adrenal system. A real
hold
warrior
out on
knows
me,
his
man.
own limits and doesn't overestimate himself. There anything else you need?
Come on, man. Don't hold out on me. I got the shakes. Alright, but for real. I was wondering if you had any more stories. you know, just
I don't have as many strange
Throw
stories
something
like
at
the
me.
last one I told you. But I do have a couple about me and the stuff I've done.
Sounds
In
good.
one battle above the world of Althir, my unit managed to defeat a force of Althiri 10 times our own size. That battle gained me command of an entire subsect of my clan.
Well, tell me the story.
For 5 days, they had managed to hold off our forces, keeping us to the outer rings of their world, preventing us from attacking it directly. My task was to assault one of their flanks with a false attack. The Althiri would be drawn out by the units I had sent in. Once they had surrounded those units, the bulk of my forces would attack from the rear and defeat them in detail.
These Althiri don't seem too bright.
They weren't stupid. Stupid races don't make starships and weapons of mass destruction. But they weren't masters of the arts of war as the Mandalorians are. Things didn't go as I had planned. I saw an opening, a mistake they had made in the disposition of their forces, and took it. While fending off our main force, they had let their fleet split in two. The center of their entire fleet was left exposed.
Big mistake.
I turned my forces and assaulted the center of their fleet, decimating them.
You were a great warrior, Canderous.
Their slow, ponderous ship could not turn to face us without being overwhelmed. The command vessels were destroyed in seconds. Their ranks were thrown into chaos. It was amusing to watch the surviving ships scatter and flee. Several even tried to dive through the plane of the rings to escape us. They were shredded by the rings, or crashed into rocks, or were destroyed by our forces as we pursued them. Warriors do not flee from a battle if they are losing. They fight to the end, as we did against your Jedi Revan. Another time, maybe, I'll tell you about how the war with the Republic went. For now, let's just get on with things.
I know all about the war,
Is there something
man.
else
I
you
fought in
want
it
to know?
too. Nothing more for now. Thanks, Canderous.
Your choice. I'm here if you want something done right.
Glad to hear it. Journal entry added, items received. So, let's check our journal here. Canderous. Canderous told you about the honors he won leading a unit in the battle over Althir. It seems that he was quite the warrior back then. You could probably hear more if you asked him again later. Nice. And the item, I assume, would be a stimulant that he gave us. Adrenal stamina. I believe this is random. He can give us any sort of, any one of these. Alacrity, stamina, or strength. Just happens to be stamina this time. Good. So, we appear to be in what is the Ebon Hawk's garage. Its starboard cargo bay. I suppose it would have been, but it's being used as a garage right now because, much to his surprise, there is a swoop bike being stored on the Ebon Hawk. It's actually really convenient because Mac just might decide to make some bank if any of the planets that he's about to visit have swoop circuits on them. It's good that this is here. In any case, we'll decide that if we're ever short on money. Jedi reflexes will certainly help out now even more than before, so should be a cakewalk in theory. We also have a workbench on the Ebon Hawk here that we can take a look at some of our equipment. We have access to everybody's gear. We've gained an extra lightsaber from Juhani, I believe. Yes. She does not have any upgrades for it yet. Neither do we have any to give her, unfortunately. What about range, though? We have access to Zalabar's bowcaster again. There's no upgrades in there, and I don't think we picked up any for Canderous' gun. No, Karth is also set. Our melee situation is set. We only have the two swords, but as for the armor, we may have gotten another upgrade. I'm not entirely certain, so yeah, indeed we did. So if we put the mesh underlay into Mission's Republic mod armor, it gives her immunity to mind affecting. It's actually really good armor. Now, same armor class and dexterity bonus, but it's pretty good. We actually have some other armor that we had to look at on her. When we find her, we'll do that. And of course, Darth Revan's robes, which we could upgrade as well to give some more bonuses that are ridiculously overpowered, but again, Mac is very keen on hiding these and just putting them out of sight and out of mind. He does not like the reaction that he had to them, and specifically Bastila's reaction to him and the changes in his personality that he suffered upon gazing on these things too long. He wants to be rid of them, and he needs to find a place somewhere on the ship to hide them. So, for right now, I think... What was that? I heard a lightsaber close. Yeah, maybe the crew's practicing or something. So what's down this way? Mission. You're just the person I was looking for. How you doing?
Hey there. What can I do for you?
You make me a security spike?
No problem. Just so happens I've got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory.
There with a little small
Anything
talk.
else you need?
You know, get her chattering. How about another one?
No problem. Just so happens I've got one here I've been
Nice.
working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory. Anything
You do
else
that.
you need?
Thank you very much. Another one.
No problem. Just so happens I've got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory. Anything else you need?
You're not infinite, are you?
No problem.
Oh my
Just
God.
so happens I've got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory. Anything else you need?
And...
No problem.
Oh
Just
my.
so happens I've got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory.
I don't want to
Anything
abuse
else you
this,
need?
but that's...
No problem. Just so happens
Oh,
I've
man.
got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory. Anything else you need?
Okay, I'm gonna just...
No problem.
Oh my goodness.
Just so happens I've got one here I've been working on. Here you go. I'll just add it to our inventory. Anything else you need?
You...
No problem. Just so happens
just gonna
I've
keep
got
going,
one here I've
aren't
been
ya?
working on. Here you go.
I
I'll
don't
just
think
add
this
it
is
to our
supposed to happen.
inventory. Anything else you need?
Alright, well, you know what? That's good enough for now. You want to have a game of Pizak mission? I know you've been cooped up on the Hawk for quite some time.
Want to
so-
practice your skills,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, I
Sure.
do.
I'll play a few hands. Just for practice, though.
Alright,
I don't want to
alright,
bet with you.
I could have just played for, like, pennies or something. It's not a big deal. Alright, so what the hell did we gain from that guy anyway? I need to put all these cards back and then... I don't know, take a screenshot so I can... There. Screenshot taken. I can cross-analyze these and figure out what the hell we received from that fella before, but for now, this, and this, and this, two of those, this and this, and these. That'll work. Tough luck, mission. You're playing against the champ, you know. I've beaten so many people. Ah, 15s. We hate 15s. Yeah, I'm comfortable with using a card to get me to 20. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, Mac is not one for letting the kid win. You gotta learn those lessons early that people aren't gonna just let you walk on them. Here, +3 to 20. See if she can actually pull out a tie if the AI feels sorry for her. Oh. Oh. Too late. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, mission.
Hey there. What can I do for you? Sorry, I don't have one
Ah,
on me right now.
I knew it.
Besides, we've got plenty of security spikes already. Not much point in overloading on them, is there?
There's always a point on overloading security spikes, are you kidding me? Our computer skill sucks right now. How many of those did we have, though? Wow, she made a lot of those. Did we seriously make 8? That's amazing. This one-use item employs anti-encryption software and electronic interference to improve the user's ability to bypass locking mechanisms on doors and containers. Neat. Alright, mission.
Hey there. What can I do for you?
I want to talk to you about your brother.
All I know is I'd like to speak to Griff myself. If we have time, I'd like to go talk to the Zerka Corp rep on Tatooine
We'll
and
go
see
there.
what he has to say about where my brother is now.
As it turns out, mission, we're off searching for star maps, and Just so happens, Tatooine is on the list of places, and will probably be our next stop. I know you want to get this resolved, and I don't blame you.
Hey there, what can I do for you?
Is that all? Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, have it your way.
Take care, mission. Actually, you know what? While we're right in front of her, why don't we fiddle with her items mission. She has an energy shield equipped currently. We do have spares. She has the oral amplifier. You give her another type of thing. Verpine headband. No, I don't think so. We'll keep her with the oral amplifier, and we'll try this on her. The Achani light armor, just to see what it looks like. It's the only armor that she can wear, actually. That actually is a 15 versus fire. It's slightly worse, but better as her dex. It gives her a better dex bonus. We'll see what that looks like on her. That doesn't look half bad, I gotta admit. Versus... versus the mod armor. Honestly, this looks better on her, doesn't it? Still, even so. Alright, well, we'll just keep it like that then. Mission, anything else you can equip? Nothing for gloves, nothing for all that. She's got her pistol. Give her another shield. I think we can afford to give her another shield right now. Yeah, I'll give her one of those. Just so she has a more of her kit filled out, I suppose. So this room appears to be a dormitory. What does this say specifically? This is the port side crew quarters. Neat. So, where else haven't we been? That's the main area. I'm going to explore the back of the ship before I go there. So we've got a workbench, that's convenient. Got a garage. What's down here? This is the hyperdrive room, next to the engines. Doesn't really serve a purpose until later on in the game. And up this little corridor, we have the med bay. I think they could have squeezed in a Bacta tank over here, and that would have been a little bit more cool. But they do at least have the medical bed. The stretcher, so to speak. What's down here? We have supplies. This is a store of emergencies, food and supplies. Metal boxes. Lots of metal boxes. What's in them? Container is empty. Plate steel cylinder. Empty. Another plate steel cylinder, which is also empty. And metal box. Again, empty. Another plasteel cylinder, which is empty. Not much cargo for the cargo hold, but I think for now we've found the place that we're going to stash Revan's items. So, give, and where's the robe? Down here somewhere. There it is. Give. We'll never speak of them again, just to make sure that they're there. Good. Nice and safe. So that's a weight off of Mac's shoulders. Now that Revan's robes are safely tucked away, we can explore the rest of the ship. And we have the port side crew quarters here. I believe I said that this was port before. I misread the map. I saw the yellow dot, and I thought that's where we were on the screen. This is the starboard crew quarters over here, where mission is. But anyway, Whoa! I didn't notice this place had dynamic lighting. Was that dynamic lighting, or was that just like a glitch in the lighting for this room? Let me test it here. Hang on. Off. On. That is so cool. I had no idea that this did this. Man, I don't remember this game as well as I used to. That's pretty advanced for the age, having lights that come on as you enter the room. Very sci-fi. Yeah. Also notice there's a bit of a discrepancy on the Ebon Hawk with the amount of beds there are. There are 6 total bunks in each of the two dormitories, and a medical bed if you count that. And we will have a total of 8 human party members plus 2 droids. So 2 people are going to have to stay awake pretty much constantly, or else a couple of people are going to have to share some beds here. I guess Mission and Zalbar might bunk together. I don't know, shift work, I suppose. Somebody's not going to have a clean bed to come home to. Anyway, that's this room. Where else haven't we been? We've explored the aft fairly thoroughly, so I guess that only leaves going forward. Starting with the central hold, place for passengers and crew to congregate, relax, and the place where T3M4 and Zalbar tend to hang out. T3, might I have a word with you? Another awkward angle. Beep, 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 whoop. Let me just try and fix that so we don't have visual diarrhea on the screen the whole time. T3. Much better. Might you construct a programming spike for me, T3? Beep, 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 whoop. Items received. So, what was that item? A programming spike could be one of many things. The game's descriptors, at least in terms of dialogue, must have been written long before the actual items were named. These items allow a user to slice computer programs, assaulting systems with garbage data, to overwhelm security measures. They are one-use items. Right, we've already read these. Just a regular spike, that's fine. Alright. D3. Beep, 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 whoop. Can you make another one? Beep, frauds. Negatory. You can't make another one just yet, huh? Got it. Beep, beep, beep. D3. I found these emitters down on Dantooine for lightsabers. Might you be able to cut a crystal to fit them? Beep, whoop, whoop, beep. How about this blue crystal that I have? Beep, 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 whoop. Excellent. Could I ask you some questions? Beep, whoop, whoop. You don't even know what I was going to say. Weep, boop, beep, beep. Just chime in if you ever have any advice, okay? Beep, boop. D3? You don't talk much, do you? Weep, boop, beep, beep. Just chime in if you ever have any advice. Beep, boop. Neat. So, what was that item that we got? That was, in crystals? Crossguard emitter blue. Special upgrade item, lightsaber, blade color blue. A faceted crystal bonded with a crossguard emitter for lightsaber construction. It glows faintly with an inner blue light. Cool. And let's go and upgrade our saber at the machine shop here. Upgrade items. Our lightsaber, which currently does 4 to 23 energy damage with a +2 modifier. I believe that the emitters give a +2 minimum and +2 maximum damage bonus, but I can't be sure of that. Let's see and find out. Swap that out for the Crossguard emitter blue. So, 6 to 25 damage, yep. 2 to minimum and 2 to maximum. Critical threat 19 to 20 times 2, and attack modifier +2. A more venerable design of the traditional Jedi weapon, the crossguard lightsaber offers greater protection from an opponent's blade. Greater risk and training are associated with wielding this powerful weapon. Properties can vary with the type of focusing crystals used in construction. We will assemble that and close and see what it looks like. And of course, it looks awesome. It's one of the few things I liked about Star Wars Episode 7 and 8 was Kylo Ren's lightsaber. It's got superior form and function if constructed properly. The Quillons prevent any enemy's blades from sliding down onto your forearms and lopping them off, which tends to happen quite often in Star Wars if you go back and watch the movies. And I think it fits right into KotOR, looking more ancient in general. I'm not even sure why George Lucas opted to lose the guard when he designed the standard lightsaber. I suppose maybe he thought a linear design looked more future real or something, and I get that, but, you know, for my part, I think it looks way better. Oh, and to all the people ho-humming and making the stupid argument, oh, you're gonna stab yourself with your own lightsaber. No, that's wrong. I know it's hard to picture with how it's shown here in-game, but you wouldn't choke this far up on the grip. You would choke further down, and even with how it's spaced currently, his forearms are still perfectly safe. The sheer amount of force it would take pushing against this blade to even tilt it enough to scorch the wrists would be tremendous, and he would never even let his opponent get that far before deflecting and winding into a countercut. It just wouldn't happen. And just to preempt another dumb argument, the part of the lightsaber that powers these two Quillons is not housed in these two metal cylinders sticking out of the hilt. All that's in them is more blade. So there's no risk of them being cut off when you catch your opponent's weapon. They're just there to stop your hand from sliding up onto the guard. Anyway, that's my lightsaber rant done for the day. But relating to my character, though, this style of lightsaber closely resembles the type of swords made on his homeworld, Dorelia, being cruciform and double-edged, so he'd be right at home using this weapon. Though he doesn't quite understand why the ancient Jedi chose to abandon hand protection soon after the Great Hyperspace War when this style of lightsaber fell out of use. Perhaps it might have been due to the adoption of new lightsaber forms beyond the first, which was Sisho, I think. And that developed from swordsmanship long ago when the Jedi and Sith still used weapons of steel. Before that, having a crossguard would have been very beneficial, obviously, but perhaps when Form 2 came into play, Makashi favoring a more one-handed style rather than both hands on the grip, it became more hazardous to have Quillons protruding when a one-handed grip can be pushed aside a lot easier than two hands. Additionally, when subsequent Forms 3 and 4 came out, they relied heavily on like mullinettes and acrobatics, and by that point you probably wouldn't want to be waving this thing around at all. If you're flailing and leaping around a lot, it might cause some problems, or at least require more focus to use, so I guess they probably just let sleeping dogs lie. But now with the advent of Form 5, Xian, the form Mac favors, its usefulness has come full circle again, since that form demands having, I don't know, a more grounded stance to produce strong cuts and to displace your opponent's energy properly. Of course he does make use of the other forms and mixes them here and there, but mostly he just takes the good, leaves the bad, and pretty much ignores Form 4. He doesn't really care for flips and twirls. It just looks ridiculous to him. In fact, he had a lot of fun in training swatting hawk bats, as he called it, after watching his fellow students tire themselves out using it. But I digress. We should probably start wrapping up this episode, because it has been going on for some time. I think I'm going to chat with Zalbar and see if he can make us any gear, and then we will save the other party members for next episode. Zalbar? Is there something you need? Do you know anything about the planet we're on? I know that it isn't my home world, and that's all I care about it. There's nothing to interest me here. I wonder if you could help me with a problem. Unless you want someone threatened or door bashed in, you should ask someone else. Have you anything more to say about yourself, Zalbar? I'll honor my life debt, but I don't feel you share more than that. Mission may say you will, I will not. You don't trust me. It is nothing personal, but I just don't feel like you can understand anything about me. The ways of my people are not for outsiders to know. You'll have to be content with that. You'll have to tell me more eventually. That may be, but not today. I was wondering if you might be able to make me a grenade. Alright, let's see what I can do. I think I have enough parts for something. Just a moment. There you are. One grenade. Be careful with it. Can you make another one? You've got a bunch already. You really don't want these things banging around together. Use some up first. Alright then. Well, thanks. Maybe we'll talk later. Very well. Alright, let's see what we got from that. And that was an ion grenade. Excellent. Too bad we didn't have him a little sooner, or able to do that a little sooner. But good, it's all helpful. Never know when one of those might come in handy. So anyway, guys, I thank you very much for watching this episode of Rag Plays Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Next time, we will be chatting up with the remaining members of the crew, Jahani, who is new and we haven't spoken with yet, Karth, and lastly Bastila, before we depart to a new world. Originally I said that I was planning on going to Tatooine next. That is still mostly the same. However, there'll be a slight detour before that. You'll see about that in the upcoming episode. I will see you then. And again, sorry about the long wait in between. Now that spring is sprung, I should have some more time to record, hopefully. Anyway, see you next time.